Hi guys, my name is Kirsty. Welcome back to Upside Down Books, and obviously we are here today with my January wrap-up reading vlog thing. I really haven't decided what I'm calling these.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno.
You may recall I look exactly the same as it did at the end of my December wrap-up. I'm also in a big open space, so I probably sound really echoey. But I'm really excited to be continuing this sort of vlog style wrap up because I think at the moment I'm having a lot of fun, more fun than a regular wrap up video, taking you guys with me throughout the month to see my real-time thoughts about books and how long it's taking me to read each of them and get a little bit of a snippet about the things that I'm doing. So I hope that you're enjoying this. Let me know if this is a thumbs up or a thumbs down for you. If it's a thumbs down, then I apologize because we're going full steam ahead. But so you know that what I'm doing, I am actually, I've just set my Goodreads reading challenge and I have pledged 88 books because that is how many I finished in 2021. We are now in 2022, so I'm going to try and match or best that number. If I continue to read even 8 books to 10 books a month, then I will well surpass that. I think at 8 books a month is 96 or somewhere around there, but nobody quote me on that if I'm wrong. And so I've started the year with a book called A Dead-End Job. It's in my room. I can't be bothered going to get it. But that's the book I'm starting with. I'm really excited about it. It's about Death desperately needing a vacation from his job. And I think the first audiobook I'm going to start is the next Outlander, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's the 8th one, because I want to catch up and get in stream, caught up, whatever that word is, for Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone. So that's where my reading plans are at. I'm also participating in a little readathon until the 10th of January, which is called Climathon, and I will try and remember to link the video below just so you can see what that challenge is about. There are 3 reading prompts and I'm not really fussed about reading any of them. I just think I want to participate generally in the vibe of the readathon, which is to increase your awareness and participate in reading stuff and learning about climate change. Which I think is amazing. It's something that I have mentioned in my yearly reading goals for this year that I'm really interested in doing, and I really want to read more about climate change. So I'm about 60 pages into a 200-page book called Future Sea, and I want to motivate myself to keep going through it. I think with the looming threat of not reaching the little goal I'd set for myself for, surpassing my best reading year ever, I didn't pick it up because I was busy reading other things. So I'm going to use these next 10 days to, I don't know, maybe read like 20 pages a day or something and just try and push myself towards finishing this book and re-engaging with it because I'm really enjoying all the facts I'm learning from it. And I'm also reading this big hardback book called Perfect Planet. I will find a picture of it at some point to show you guys, which would also go towards this. Is about conservation. So that's where we're at the start of January. So glad you're here for the ride. So stay tuned if you want to see how the rest of the reading month goes. So I wanted to do a little update as to where I'm at with everything. It's the 3rd of January, so we're still at the very beginning of the month. In terms of what I've read for A Dead-End Job is I've read the first 100 pages. And it's really funny. It's not the best edited book ever. There's a few typos that I can see that are a little bit annoying because they're relatively frequent, but the story itself is really entertaining and it's easy to read. So I'm really enjoying it. And I think I'll polish that off within the next few days. It's just the kind of book you can breeze through. Now, in terms of my progress or my contribution towards my Climathon week, I actually haven't touched Future Sea as of yet, which is the book I was aiming to because I realise I've got another book that counts towards it. And that is this one, A Perfect Planet. It's the really big one that you will have seen in my book haul for December. Now, this one is also about the climate change and whatnot, and it's got loads of beautiful pictures. And I've really been enjoying that. So today I think I read maybe a couple of pages. morning. I just wanted to have a little quick morning check-in to say hello, and it's now the 6th of January and I'm about 50 pages away from finishing a dead-end job, and I'm 1 book behind on my Goodreads challenge already, which is depressing, so today we're going to finish it and see what we get. So it's now the afternoon of the same day and I did finish a dead-end job, so I managed to finish that on my lunch break today, which was great achievements because I'm now going to be going around, I suspect, for a board games night at my sister's. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars in the end. It was an interesting story, and I liked the premise of it, but it wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be as going off the blurb. And it didn't have any particular wow factors to it. Like, taking it just sort of at face value and not analysing it too deeply, it was still enjoyable to read. I thought the plot was actually more sophisticated than I thought it was going to be, but all other aspects of it weren't. It was a lot of just hitman American sort of culture, rather than about the paranormal fantasy of Death Needing a Vacation. That's really, Death Needing a Vacation is almost irrelevant to the overall plot line, which I thought was a shame. And yeah, the editing and like the typos in it was horrific, so that was a bit of a shame. But anyway, what I wanted to jump in and tell you is I've got a little bit of book mail to show you, because of course I do. First of all, a friend of mine was getting rid of some books, and so I took a few off her. So I've got this one called The Red Wyvern by Catherine Kerr. I'd never heard of this before, but I was really intrigued by the cover for it. It's a fantasy novel, it's obviously a small one. But yeah, I don't know, I just really want to read more of these older fantasy novels that are almost like a Terry Brooks sort of vibe here at the Shannara Chronicles. In any case, it really intrigued me, so I thought I would grab this one, because why not? And then the next one I got is one I do know of, and that is called The Natural History of Dragons. Now this is a fantasy novel, but it's written as if it was the memoirs of a naturalist who studied dragons, and it's a trilogy, and I have just been so intrigued by this book because obviously it's quite seriously advertising itself as a memoir written in a non-fiction style, but it is completely fictional, which is exciting. And then the last thing I got is that she had a copy of Aurora Burning, and I obviously got Aurora Rising for Christmas, so I picked this one up. And then I have had some book mail, and I believe this is from Harlequin, so let's see what book it is going to be. It's another copy of this book. Oh my god. So I already have 2 copies of this book. They keep sending me so many bloody double ups. But yes, this is the January book club pick of the month, so that's what that one is. Nothing new today, it's the TBR there. So I've been out for lunch. Not for lunch, for coffee today, which was lovely, and I might have acquired a book. However, I'm going to be doing a big D-stash, so I think all of these books that are very naughtily acquiring in January and blatantly breaking my ban repeatedly, I will be counterbalancing with all the books I'm going to give away. However, I read this one. I just don't own a copy of The Name of All Things. So this is book 2 in the Ruin of Kings series. I'm looking, I don't know where I'm gonna fit it. So you can see I've just got 1 book in here. I did actually make space for book 4. This is book 3, but then I put the Song of Achilles there. I think there's a space for him. Sorry, Song of Achilles. Let's move you here. There we go. And then I haven't read The House of Always yet, and because I've had review copies of books 1 and 2, I don't own copies finished or she's a bit tight. Oh, but she fits. Anyway, the exciting thing is that I never see these in bookstores this height. Oh, how satisfying is that? Anyway, I tried a new bookstore, which I've not been to before. I was so pleased with the selection. I never see those first 2 books in that size. I would have got book 1 as well, but they only had it in the short size, so I've been, don't mind my unmade bed. Once again, the cat was sleeping on it. Yeah, so basically, I'm trying really hard to find book 1 in that tall height so that I'll have a complete matching series, but so thrilled that I've got that. Bugger. So my readathon ends tomorrow. I've not done well. Yeah, it's the 9th today. It's the 10th tomorrow. Oh, I'm so bad at readathons. Oh, not that bad. I just wanted to actually finish one of my books. I don't know, I don't feel like I've done that much reading this week. It's been a bit of a weird week, so let me give you a little update. It's Sunday. It's the 9th of January. And there's been 2 sort of climate changey books that I've been reading. The first is Future Sea, and this one is by Deborah Rowan White. It's a relatively short book, and you can see I actually made it halfway. I'm halfway through. I'm going to read some more before I go to bed. So I'm on page 80. Out of what I assume is something close to 160. Yeah, it's like 160 is where the narrative, as it were, if it ends. Anyway, I've probably only actually sat down to read this a couple of times so far over the last 10 days. I'm trying. Anyway, what I've been having even more fun reading though and getting very distracted with is this big book called Perfect Planet, and I've not been using a bookmark. I've been rather chaotically just trying to remember where I'm up to. I have read this much of this book, so not that much really. We got page numbers. Oh god, this is hard to do with one hand. I think I read the first part. Yeah, so I read about 80 pages of this big one. And I have been making a real effort to pick these 2 up over the last 10 days, more so than I might have done. There were several times throughout the week where I forgot and realised that I'm supposed to be doing this this readathon. And the point of the readathon was exactly that, was just to remind me to pick these books up. So it's still in and still good. However, I would love to finish January having finished Future Sea, just because I actually think it'll be easier if I read that book faster rather than slower, so that I don't forget all the facts I've already learned. But anyway, that's where I'm at with that. With Maria Visonordo's book, The King of Korha, I've read like 130 pages, but that's where I'm up with that one. It's really, really easy to read. This is just indicative of me not picking up a book very much this weekend. I've spent a long time doing my bookshelves today, and I don't really know what my other excuses are. It just hasn't really happened. So yeah, let's see. I'm hoping that by the end of this week, I'll have got into a good swing of reading, because there's so much I want to read that I'm excited for, and I really want to milk the fact I've got a TBR-free month. But I'm feeling really guilty and pressured about all the books I've got to review. The King of Korha is a review title, so I've been trying to do one book for me, one book for reviewing, one book for me, and I would like to continue doing that. But if I'm really slow on my pacing, then I might just have to read review copies in January, which is not ideal. It's not the end of the world. So anyway, I'll check in with you later. Okay, it's the 15th of January, so I'm finally jumping in for another update. I can't remember where my previous one was, and I just wanted to say that I'm not making great progress. I've still only finished one book, but I'm hoping tonight, depending on how things go, because I'm going out for family dinner, I am this close to finishing The King of Korha, and I'm loving it. It's so easy to read. I've only got, I think there's about 80 pages left to go, so I'm really looking forward to actually finishing that, but I'm feeling very confused as to where all my time has gone. But I've also been to a secondhand bookstore, one of my favourites. It's called Pulp Fiction, in Western Australia. So if you are watching from Western Australia and you haven't been to Pulp Fiction, which is up in Whitfords, then you should absolutely go and check it out, because it's been refurbished and it's incredible. The selection's amazing, and they do exchange for books as well and store credit. So the balance between what I am buying versus what I'm getting rid of is a tight one, but I am thrilled with what I got. So basically, I've got cleared from when I did my bookshelf about 30 books or so. So that's actually quite a significant number of books that I'm getting rid of, which is great and has really helped get my TBR down. I think it got it down to 350 or so, but I'm going to just balance it out. So it's still going to come out lower, but I am going to get some books with the credit I get for trading these ones in. So it's basically a small step in the right direction, and exchanging books is something that is a-okay for me to do within my book buying ban, especially in this case because I think today I took about a third of them in, so about 10 books, and I came away with 4, so I'm still reducing TBR, which is great, and it allows me to pick up some extra books. Not that I need them, but that's beside the point. The first one I got is Catch Us the Foxes, and this one's by Nicola West, so I think this one is like a thriller. It's actually not got great ratings on Goodreads, which I hadn't seen recently, but I've had my eye on this for a little while, and I'm really, really keen to pick it up eventually and have a read of it because I love the cover and I'm so intrigued by it. So I saw this in a new releases section and I knew I had to get it. I then found quite the good discovery. Something that's in very good nick is The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Very keen to try this one out because I read Unearthed, which is the other series or book, I can't remember if it was turned into a series, that these two co-wrote, and they've done a lot of, Amy Kaufman in particular has done a lot of co-writing. I love Megan Spooner's books by herself, but I did not like Unearthed. I just didn't find it very good. However, this has great reviews and I just love the cover for it. Nice big edition as well. So when I saw this one, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this one a go and I'm going to see what it's like, and if I enjoy it, and if I don't like this one, then I think I can write this writing duo off as something that doesn't work for me, but hopefully it does. The next book is one I'm so excited about because it was one of my most anticipated books for last year, and that is Antonio Iturbé's The Prince of the Skies. Now, this author wrote The Librarian of Auschwitz, which is a beautiful historical fiction novel, obviously set in Auschwitz, in a concentration camp. And this one I think is dealing with a downed RAF pilot or something along those lines, given, you know, the plane Prince of the Skies. In any case, couldn't care less what the topic is. I am just here for this author's writing, and I just, ever since reading The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, I've been really enamoured by the setting of World War II in Paris, which this looks, going by the cover, like what it's going to be, and particularly with the theme of pilots, which also comes across in The Nightingale. So yeah, really excited that they had this one and that I could grab this within exchange. This was definitely, like, I feel like I really upgraded my bookshelf by getting rid of those books in exchange for these ones. Now, the final book is one that's very on topic for me because previously in this vlog, I showed you that I had managed to get hold of the Chorus of Dragons book 2, and after what has been about 3 years of looking, I have finally got myself a copy of The Ruin of Kings. So I am very nearly up to date with this. I just have book 4 to read. This is a huge and epic fantasy series, and yeah, since this has been released, because I had an unfinished arc, I have not had the tall edition of this paperback, or any edition really, mine doesn't have a cover, of this book, and I was really getting upset that I didn't think I was going to have a complete series. I really wanted to have this complete series on my shelf because it's epic. So I saw this one in the bookstore and it was just meant to be, so of course I picked it up. So I now have all of the books that are out in this tall edition, and I can stop stressing because they all get released in the tall editions when they're first published, so I'll just be able to grab the copies when they first come out. So this was thrilling. So that is my little update for you today. I'm hoping that tomorrow is going to be a really quiet day. I'm going to take pictures for Instagram at some point, but other than that, I am actually planning to do a lot of reading because I want to read Only a Monster, which came in the mail for review earlier this week, as well as a lot of other review copies and just other books in general. So I'm going to have a really big day of reading tomorrow, so we'll check in and see how that goes. podcast because I actually have some updates for you guys, which is very exciting. So I actually ended up finishing The King of Korahar last night, which is what I was hoping to do, but nonetheless was thrilled that I actually did it. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It's just, I just love the way that Maria V. Snyder writes characters and wraps up stories. And I absolutely loved Shyla and Rendor, so if you guys haven't read that series yet, then those two are a couple to get on board with. And so yeah, I just really enjoyed that book. I love the adventure, I love the imagination that went with it. It's all set in this sort of futuristic science or fantasy world where everyone lives underground because the waters have all receded and it's all just deserts. So there's several underground cities, and the story starts off in the city of Zerdai, and various adventures follow the way through. So I won't talk too much about it because it obviously was the conclusion to a trilogy, but there's so much magic, there's really great friendships, there's a lot of fantastic sass, the romance is as good as anything that Sarah J. Maas writes. Yeah, there's just so much fun, and like really I like the structure in that there's a new baddie in every book, so it's not a really long and exhausting overarching story. It's something to read finish to start in each book, but with characters and an overarching storyline that sort of carries through, which is always fun. And I have cleared my schedule today being Sunday, and it's now about 2 in the afternoon. I don't know, what time is it actually? 1 in the afternoon. To just get on top of some reading, and as I said, I think I have started reading Only a Monster. I think I said I was going to plan to do that, but not only have I started reading it, look at that, I've read half of it already. This has got huge print for starters, so very easy to read. It's about 400 pages, so I've read 200. Fully addictive. This wasn't, like, this has so much more in it than I was expecting. I had spoken to someone else who'd read a review copy early on, and they said it was okay, so I think I went in with lower expectations, but I am loving this. This is like a sort of paranormal sci-fi time-traveling Romeo and Juliet retelling with like monsters and monster hunters basically, and the main character is meant to be a monster. That's how it's set up. And so yeah, I've read half of it, loving the time travel and the way that this works. Super fun. This will be coming out on the 5th of February. So obviously a huge thanks to Alan and Unwin for sending me an advance copy, so it should be out just around the time that this video comes out, and you'll be able to get yourself a copy of it. So it's now the 17th of January, so it's the next day I think, if I remember correctly, and I finished Only a Monster. I actually finished reading it all yesterday. I was so impressed with myself that I sat down and read it. I can't recommend it enough. 5 out of 5 stars for me. Brilliant story about these humans called monsters that have special abilities. There's a bit of time travel in it. I don't want to give much away because I think this book is best gone into with absolutely no idea what it's about, but it was very satisfying. And there's a Romeo and Juliet sort of theme to it, so I'm not going to tell you too much more than that, but yeah, really great. And I started the next book, which is Shady Hollow, which I'm reading on my Kindle, also a review copy, but coming out at the end of January, so will be out by the time this video is up. And this one is set in, it's got all these woodland characters, like these animals as the main characters, so they're sort of human, like, whatever that word is, human-y animals. They're speaking and talking and acting as humans would, and they're living in this village called Shady Hollow, where it's all happy and only good things happen. And then a murder happens, so it's this whole murder mystery with these animals trying to work out who's done it. So it feels a lot like a weird version of Cluedo crossed with Agatha Christie, and I'm just loving it. So I'm 20% of the way in, and I think it's going to be brilliant, so I'm really hoping that it continues to be as awesome as it is. It's the 21st of January today, and I have to be honest, I'm just not feeling it today. Today is just not my day. Nothing bad has happened. No, I'm just having a low energy day. I'm 70% of the way through Shady Hollow. I'm feeling very low also about how many books I finished. Shady Hollow will be my 4th book for the month, and I've had no audiobooks this month to pick up the score, so to speak, because I'm reading Outlander, which is usually about a 6-week job. Halfway through Outlander, I'm about halfway through the 7th book. The 8th book. So I only have, according to my Kindle, about 1 hour to go of Shady Hollow, and I am planning on reading that this evening. We'll see how this weekend goes, but I just wanted to check in with you guys. that I feel like I haven't checked in for a little while, and it's just there's not been much to say, and it feels like the last few days has just been building up to this wave of exhaustion that I'm feeling. So time to reset. So it's now the 23rd of January, and I have finished reading Shady Hollow. It was really good. It was a really fun mystery. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really fun the way that the authors, as it was two authors writing under a pseudonym of one name. I thought it was really fun the way that they combined, like, it felt like a mashup of genres. So it was like a Beatrix Potter met Agatha Christie. It was very strange, but really worked. So you had like the thrilling mystery aspect of like not quite gruesome murders, but serious murders, and but it's these cute woodland creatures trying to figure it out. So I really enjoyed it, and I thought that was a really fun read. It would definitely recommend it if you see it in the shops at all to go and pick it up. This book has been published before, but it's being like newly packaged, and new editions are being released at the very at the very end of January. So by the time this is up, it will be out, which means I'm moving on to another book now. I am going to be reading The Inheritance Games. This isn't on any sort of list or required reading for this month. This is one of my Christmas books, and I thought I would just take a little bit of a break and read something that I purely want to read for myself. But I do have lots of other things I want to get to. I've just got this book in the mail, this one, which is called The Amulet of Wishes. Now this is an indie author, Sabrina A. Rubin. I'm actually participating in the MTMC tours on Instagram for that. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will see my review coming up on, I believe the 7th of February is my day to tour it on Instagram and my blog. So I'm looking forward to reading that this week. And there's still a few review copies to get to. There is a public holiday coming up this week, so maybe I can get some extra reading done then, but I don't know. So I've only done 4 books this month. I'd love to double that number, but that would mean a lot of reading next week, which is not impossible. But I guess we'll just have to see and wait and find out what happens. Welcome to my Monday evening. I am 60-something pages into The Inheritance Games. Really short chapters, really fun, very, very mysterious. Can't wait to see where this is going. I am just not doing anything this evening / afternoon. I'm planning on just chilling out. I'm going to be zen. I'm going to be just in the zone. So I'm going to sit down and have a read now. I'm going to check in with you guys probably when I hit the next twist in this book, because I just know there's going to be a lot of shocking moments in this story already. So it's the 29th of the 25th of January, and I'm coming in with a disgruntled update to say that one of my friends is just absolutely beating me on the monthly reading goal. Amy, you know it's you, and I know you're watching, and how dare you. And so I'm going to pick up the game, because this is book 5, is it? I think it's book 5 for the month, and I'm like over halfway through The Inheritance Games. This is very addictive. I have every intention of staying up and finishing this tonight so that I can message Amy in the morning and let her know that I have completed a book, and then I'm going to try and read a whole book tomorrow. There are many candidates. First of all, I think I showed you the Amulet one. I can't be bothered getting it out. I'll show you 2 in the morning. But the other one is the book club pick of the month for January for the book stack, which is Murder Most Fancy. It looks huge, but I did just have a quick squiz font and the page extent, and it's only just about 400 pages, and it's got huge fonts. I actually think this will be quick to read. So yeah, it's a public holiday tomorrow here, so I have the day off work. I do have family over, so I'm not sure exactly how much free time versus reading time I'm going to have, but I'll be damned if I don't finish 2 books, have 2 more books finished this time tomorrow. So as an update, it's now the 26th of January, and I finished Independence Day? No, what is it called? The Inheritance Games this morning, and that was incredible. I rated that 5 out of 5 stars. I got that for Christmas in last year. so thrilled to have got to it already. But yeah, oh, so good. It was such a good brain teaser. I really, really enjoyed where it was going. I had desperately wanted to finish it before I fell asleep last night, but I fell asleep with like 50 pages to go, so I finished that this morning. And this is Amulet of Wishes, which is the next book I'm reading. This will be part of a blog tour. This is fantasy involving dragon shifters. It's by an indie author, so I'm really hoping for good things from this one, but we will see. It'll be short, so hopefully I can finish this one off reasonably soon, because I'm still going to try and fit in a few more books before the month is out. I just finished Future Sea. I ended up plowing through and actually finishing the whole thing. You can see I've tabbed it a fair bit to pick out some things I want to talk about with you guys in my little feature for it, but this was amazing and I was blown away by the passion of the writing, and I will be rating it 5 stars, and I will probably talk about it a bit more in my next check-in, but this has left me wanting to save the whole world and do all the things and go out there and get on the streets and do something, but for now I think I need a good night's sleep to digest everything that I've read, and I will report back to you with further detail on this one. To the end of January. Well done us, well done me. I had a really good reading month and I'm really happy with everything I read, so welcome to the final clip for this video and thanks for sticking around. In the end, I think the last time I checked in with you I had just finished reading Future Sea. Still feel really amazing about it, and I am hoping to have a video coming up in the next few weeks for you guys where I'll be further reviewing that, and I'll be starting my little series that I'll be continuing on with any further climate change books that I read, talking about what I learned from that book and sharing it with you guys, so that if you don't have the time to read it yourself or you don't want to read non-fiction books yourselves, you can still learn with me all the facts that I'm learning if you're interested in that sort of thing. So that was brilliant, and then I managed to squeeze in one more book, which was book 7 for the month, I think is how many I read, and that was Amulet of Wishes. Now I read this one for review for a blog tour that's coming up in the beginning of February. This was a 3 out of 5 stars for me. This didn't really blow me away. I knew I was taking a gamble agreeing to do this tour because it was indie published, self-published, and I don't always have the best of luck with these things, but I wanted to give it a go because it sounded interesting. It had dragon shifters in it, but I just, yeah, I felt that as soon as we built up to any action scenes, it was really cut off at the knees and just sort of fell a bit flat, or was a bit too convenient how the characters got out of it, or something happened that just abruptly stopped any of the action scenes actually getting to a climactic point. So I don't know, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because I think it was promising. I think it was really cool. The premise, it's all about these 3 dragon shifters who find one piece of 3 of an amulet that can grant wishes, and so they're basically going on a quest to try and find the other 3, but it is dark demonic magic and there is a catch that comes with it that they don't know about, and so it was interesting, but yeah, it didn't blow me away. One other book I did want to talk about, which is going towards my tally but isn't something I technically read in January is a book called Only Birds Above. Now this is a book I read for work. If you don't know, I am a book editor, and so this is something we're publishing at work in the coming months. And so basically the way that I manage this, because I've still read these books, I've just read them well before they've gone up on Goodreads, is once they do get put onto Goodreads, I then put them on the tally on Goodreads and mark them off as read. I won't be reviewing these for conflict of interest reasons, basically. However, this is a really great and interesting historical fiction novel, which I believe is coming out in the next few months, so keep your eyes peeled for that one if you want some Australian historical fiction. This is set in World War One, so yeah, I really enjoyed that one, but that has brought my yearly tally up to 8 books, and I came so close to finishing Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which was the final book that I picked up in January. I was about 100 pages off finishing it, but I just didn't quite get there, so it'll be my first book that I read in February. So overall, really pleased with the reading month I've had so far. I think the one book that's really stuck with me has been The Inheritance Games. That was very enjoyable to read, and I'm really, really looking forward to what the rest of the year is going to bring, and if I can keep up this cracking pace. I'm hoping that once I get through Outlander, which I've been reading throughout this month as well, this the 8th one, my audiobook consumption will increase as well, because Outlander is like 50 hours long. It's super long compared to your 10-20 hour standard books, so it takes a lot longer. So no audiobooks for this month. I've still got quite a few review copies on the pile, and quite a lot of things that I'm looking forward to coming out in February, so I think February will be really interesting to see what I do end up reading, but I will leave the video there, so let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you're excited to read any of them. Let me know all of your thoughts, but other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Alla gloria mia